Welcome back to another Type R video. My name is Zach, and today I'm going to be talking about a company called Sweidit. They are based out of Los Angeles, California. That's where they make and upholster all their interior trim pieces. And today I just received my reupholstered OEM Civic Type R wheel. So I'm pretty stoked. I'll show you the differences between the wheel that comes on the vehicle as well as the new wheel that they just sent me. We'll talk about a couple installation important notes, and I'll talk about the ordering process as well. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, guys.
All right, guys. So what you'll see here in front of me is an OEM Civic Type R steering wheel. This kind of just gives you guys an idea of what it looks like, completely stripped down and removed from the vehicle. A pretty thin steering wheel for how track focused it is. I noticed a lot of other vehicles or higher end vehicles or track focused vehicles usually come with a little bit of a thicker wheel from the factory, and this one is relatively thin, I would say. In general, the leather itself is, I wouldn't say the greatest quality. It doesn't wear very well. It scratches pretty easily. Well, this is just kind of a general overview of the OEM steering wheel. All right, guys, so kind of moving over to the wheel from Sweidit. I wanted something a little bit more subtle. So there's already a ton of red in the vehicle, so I wanted to keep the red stitching in there. Really love the way a top-notch 12 o'clock looks, and OEM does not have that. So instead of going with the typical red ring leather or red rings suede, I had them do a double stitch top notch. I think it's just really classy. The wheel itself is an OEM Honda core wheel. Be careful, guys, with ordering from some wheel companies or reupholstery companies. Sometimes they don't buy OEM cores, and that is a serious danger to the driver itself if there was ever an accident. You all also notice that I went with the V2 style, which means it is thicker than the OEM wheel. You can kind of see a little bit of the thickness difference. I did go with Napa leather, so that way it wears a little bit better where I'm used to touching it and preserve the life of the new wheel itself. I'm just kind of taking a look here. Now, Sweidit does do a great job at matching the OEM Honda stitch. Show a comparison to the thickness here. So you can kind of see the thickness there. It's just a smidge difference, but man, it makes a whole world of difference in feel. All right, guys. So as you can see, I did just finish putting on the OEM trim. It is a pretty tedious process. This piece right here is very thin. It's easily breakable. The trim piece itself is relatively inexpensive from Honda itself to replace. However, when you have to replace things, no matter how cheap they are, they just delay the process of installation. Some suggestions when removing the trim off of this here. Once you take out these 4 big screws and then the single ground screw, you will go ahead and get a pry tool and start lifting from both ends and work your way up. And then proceed to this trim right here and kind of work your way out and pull it out. And then these essentially pop out. These are also very fragile on the back. But in general, it was a pretty smooth process. I'd say the swap maybe took about 30 to 45 minutes with me just trying to be as patient as possible. So just showing a side-by-side comparison to show the thickness difference. Like I said, it's minimal, but it's enough. And with the Alcantara on top, it definitely provides better gripping points for sure. As you guys can see, Sweidit does a great job at replicating the OEM stitch from Honda and implementing it to the revised wheel. Now let's go ahead and throw this in the car and see how it looks. All right, guys, so we made our way back into the vehicle here, and before I install the wheel, I just wanted to touch on a couple things as far as suggestions-wise goes. Removing the wheel is very simple. There's really only 2 screws, one on each side to remove the airbag, and then the actual locking nut itself. It's pretty simple to remove. Something that not everybody might have in their toolbox. I ended up using an impact to remove that. I did use a 10mm socket, and in that 10mm socket, I put a 10mm hex nut to then go ahead and remove that. This piece itself might be something that you need to get from your local hardware store. Okay, so we just got the wheel back on. All I did was slide the new wheel back onto the hub right there itself, you'll notice that this back piece behind the wheel does spin. So that might be a little bit challenging to keep it from spinning while you put the wheel back on. But it'll be important to note that when you do put the wheel back on, that the airbag plugs as well as the ground wire for it do go through this top portion right here on the wheel. It is important to note when you are removing this nut, they do put blue Loctite on this, so it will take some time to get off if you don't have an impact. So suggestion with that, just be patient. All right, guys, as far as reinstalling the airbag, it's pretty simple. Like I said, there's only really 2 bolts that actually hold the airbag in, one on each side of it, one right there, a second one right there as well. And then as far as when you're disconnecting the airbag, there's only 2 plugs that go into it. Green goes into the green plug, gray goes into the gray plug. Pretty simple. And then obviously you'll attach the ground wire back to that piece right there as well. And that simply just pulls right out. It's pretty easy. All right, guys, once you go ahead and reinstall the ground wire, the 2 plugs that go back into the airbag, and then obviously you're going to take that white plug and plug it back into the vehicle, you are all set. You can simply push the airbag back into place. It fits pretty snug. Once you set it back in there, you'll take your T30 bolt that was removed on each of the side of these. It's a T30. And you'll see kind of right where it goes, back there. All right, guys, so we went ahead here and just wrapped up by installing those final 2 bolts, the T30 ones that I was referencing just a couple moments ago. Let's take a look and see how it looks in the cabin. I am really impressed. I was really nervous with going or even considering doing the half Alcantara on the bottom and top and doing the Napa on the main touch points, the right and left. And I think it looks amazing. It looks much better than I even envisioned. You can see I have the dash already done, so I think it just completely flows with the rest of the cabin, going straight forward, looking straight down at everything. Was really on the fence of going with a thicker wheel. I've seen a lot of photos, and some of you guys may have got this illusion, but I've seen a lot of photos with people with thicker OEM wheels, and sometimes it just does not look good in the cabin itself. I'm not sure if it's an optical illusion, but in person, it looks amazing. It feels just right, and the extra grip feels perfect. So you guys just saw the install of the wheel itself. I want to talk a little bit about my experience with dealing with Sweidit and the ordering process. When I reached out to them, they ended up immediately sending me a link to where I could look at other Type R steering wheels that they had completed to kind of get an idea of what style I wanted. It looked like they probably had done easily over maybe 200 Type R wheels based on the photo list, and it was pretty impressive, and it almost made it harder to kind of decide what I wanted to do on it. As far as lead time goes or wait time goes, I think from start to finish it took 2 weeks. The nice thing is, for a Type R standpoint, he stocks the OEM wheels in stock. So you don't have to ship your wheel in first and have that downtime of not being able to drive your vehicle, which is really nice. As far as the selection process of the Alcantara and the material selection, pretty much any color you could think of from an Alcantara, Napa leather, you can do. You can do a double stitch, you can do an OEM looking stitch, you can do a single stitch. I was really impressed with all the different types of selections, which is really, really cool. There wasn't an option to have more of a flat bottom steering wheel. Some people seem to really like that. I think a lot of the reason why that's not offered is because that's not how the OEM wheels cast. And if you are ordering a flat bottom steering wheel that's aftermarket, it's probably not OEM. It could be, possibly. They could have hammered it down, but I would be really concerned with the Type R wheel is made in the trim pieces that it would just not fit on the bottom how it fits so snugly as it is now. Communication was great. As far as payment goes, he didn't ask for payment until he shipped the product, which I think is really awesome as well. I highly encourage that you check him out if you are looking to do any type of interior reupholstery of some sort. When I've looked through his profile, I've seen tons and tons of other vehicles done, between NSXs to tons of BRZs and FRSs and Subarus in general. So if you are looking for someone to do some type of reupholstery work on a OEM wheel or interior pieces, I encourage you to reach out to them, and chances are they should be able to take care of you. I hope this video was helpful for those of you who are looking to upgrade your wheel or simply keep the OEM wheel but maybe just change the look, and maybe you're just trying to find a reputable company that can take care of you. And that was my experience with this one. So thank you. Thanks, Sweidit. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, guys, another Type R video. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions at all about the install. I know I didn't go too much into depth. The reason why I did that is because there's so many install videos on YouTube installing a wheel. I really just wanted to touch on the wheel itself in comparison to the OEM. So I hope this was helpful in that sense. Thanks again. So thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Like and subscribe, and have a great day.